guys, Slickleaf 2.0 here to discuss the latest chapters of My Hero Academia, and if you have any questions or opinions to discuss My Hero, please do not hesitate to comment down below. Now let's begin. All for One main goal is to break Deku's spirit, given that stealing One for All is apparently tied to the willpower of Shigaraki for All for One. Weakening Deku's spirit, it probably makes it easier for One for All to be stolen. All for One doesn't want to kill Deku, not in the war arc, and not with this mansion explosion. He wants One for All, so he can't kill him here. Shigaraki already failed to steal One for All, plus that makes it at least the third time that All for One has failed to steal One for All. The way that Deku's main goal is to find and defeat All for One. All for One main goal is to break Deku's spirit. Remember Kirishima's debut fight in SCASON 4, when he fights a cowardly thug high on trigger. Fatgum says that the goal of a hero is to make a villain lose the will to fight. That's what All for One wants. He and Shigaraki tried to steal One for All, but in the Vestige world Deku was determined and didn't give up. He and the One for All Vestiges had drive and passion to fight on, but if Deku loses this drive, then All for One is guaranteed the edge. In order to steal All for One, it doesn't matter if Lady Negan dies or survives. It also doesn't matter if Endeavor, Hawk's best genius, Edge Shot, Kamui Woods, or Mount Lady dies. What matters is that they suffer, and that Deku can look on, and it'll be partially his fault. All for One didn't explode Lady Negan because she betrayed him. He exploded Lady Negan because Deku was about to succeed in turning her heart, so All for One punishes Deku for that. Deku has a lead on All for One and leads the top pros and marches into the mansion, so All for One punishes Deku for that. Deku gets so close in succeeding, he tries so hard and gets so close, which makes it hurt even more. It's all a part of All for One plan to finally attain One for All. All Might was the number one for decades. He was plus ultra and never gave up. Deku is the same, but in comparison, he's still just an inexperienced kid, and All for One is trying to exploit that. I'm guessing UA will be the battleground for the final fight. All for One will try to push every button and twist every knife at Deku's heart, all in order to overcome the will of One for All and finally take it as his own. I think what's important to notice that all of these things are making it dangerous for other people to be close to Deku. We know that above all else Deku wants other people to be safe, so All for One is using that nature against him so that he isolates himself. Despite his awkwardness, Deku is a social person. He works the best when he has friends and allies with him, so by making him stay away from people, All for One is taking Deku's greatest strength from him. All for One is a great villain because even though he is extremely powerful himself, the most menacing thing about him is how good he is with people, reading people, inspiring people, using people. He is a master manipulator that could have been the king of villains while being quirkless, just using his intelligence and charisma. But on top of all of that, he has the most powerful quirk in existence. This dude won the jackpot of life. This is a good way to tie back to Uraraka's worries about Deku and the who helps the heroes when they're hurting type of thing. I like how Horikoshi is using Deku's new eye bags to emphasize his emotions by making them more noticeable when he's angry or sad, and making them barely noticeable when he's hopefully or happy. I don't think Deku literally wants Overhaul to apologize to Yuri, but to at least show some remorse over what he did to her. If you look at the words Deku uses, Deku wants Chisaki to have the same energy towards apologizing to Iri as his boss. Deku won't need and wouldn't let him near Iri to apologize. There's something badass about the fact All for One casually tossing All Might to the side and declaring Deku his new nemesis. All for One, did you know that even now I sometimes still dream about you charging at me with your entrails strewn across the ground? All Might. You dream about me all for one was right now. It is Deku's turn unsurprisingly, so I thought this was such an interesting chapter, because it was the first time that All for One acknowledged to Deku that it is him, and not All Might, that is the true wielder of One for All. Yeah, getting that acknowledgement definitely makes me feel like we are in the endgame. No matter how long that takes, that parallel at the end between All for One and All Might telling Deku that he's the next had me shivering. Struggled and struggled without a moment's rest, yet all I got was criticism and doubt. One negative comment is stronger than 10 positive one. I feel like Horikoshi is talking about himself. I hope I'm wrong. Stay strong, Horikoshi. I also feel like Deku sacrificing sleep and his emotional well-being may also be commentary as well, considering how brutal Japanese work culture can be. Damn, Deku, really? When full owner, urban legend Batman on us, poor All Might. Feels like we'll be getting Class 8 back sometime soon. If Shoto's call wasn't a hint, then Deku trying to go solo is. I can totally see Uraraka, Shoto, and Bakugo leading the charge, and in an ironic twist, Bakugo has now switched places with Deku from their childhood days, chazzing after Deku the same way Deku chazzed after him for real. The boy that wanted to become Superman let the darkness of the world turn him into Batman, considering Stain was there without danger, sense triggering. I have a feeling he's gonna try to steer Deku back towards the light. I could see Stain convincing Deku to out himself to inspire peace like Spider-Man does in the Civil War comics. I think it's clear what All for One is doing. Basically, he's pulling the same thing Bane did to Batman in his first appearance, Batman Nightfall. Bane freed every villain in Arkham, forcing Batman to work himself to exhaustion, and then was able to easily overpower him and break his back. That's basically what All for One is doing, though he's not just exhausting him physically but mentally as well, between shattering Hero Society, horrifying Deku with the lengths of his depravity, and basically not giving him even a moments of peace. He's ensured Midoriya will become his own worst enemy. He's basically turned Deku's hero complex against him. Shot says that maybe now is the time to tell every single hero the truth about One for All. They're getting closer to the truth about Deku. At this point, it's inevitable that more people will learn about One for All, but it's probably more dangerous than it was before. They might blame Deku for causing this situation, maybe even turn him over to All for One, if they think that'll stop his conquest. Conversely, the heroes might want to take One for All from Deku, thinking they, or someone better, can handle the villains more effectively. Worst case is that villains overhear about One for All and go after Deku, or worse, they attack UA, in hopes of drawing him out. And Ever makes a good point, that All for One has a reason not to expose Deku, but it would also be in his nature to turn everyone against Deku. AFO could make a public announcement saying that if they give Deku to him, he'll stop what he's doing. Of course he would be lying, however. All for One wouldn't allow that. He wants to make it personal. All for One wants Deku and One for All to himself, and letting others getting involved keeps him from that goal, since All for One declared that he's interested in Deku and not All Might anymore. He wants to make this a one-on-one between them. At this point, it's inevitable that more people will learn about One for All, but it's probably more dangerous than it was before. They might blame Deku for causing this situation, maybe even turn him over to All for One, if they think that'll stop his conquest. Conversely, the heroes might want to take One for All from Deku, thinking they, or someone better, can handle the villains more effectively. Worst case is that villains overhear about One for All and go after Deku, or worse, they attack UA, in hopes of drawing him out. I think there'd also be some people who'd be going, "You have the same power as All Might, then you can save us, like All Might did. Please, hurry up and do it." And basically pushing Midoriya even harder than he already is to be what All Might was. Instead of turning on him, they cling to him in their desperation, and makes Midoriya's complex even worse. All Might was a grown adult when he hit the pro hero scene in Japan, and had been preparing himself since before high school. Midoriya is 16, with about 2 years under his belt to prepare him for what he's been thrown into. Poor kid's going to crack. He tells All Might that he can already use One for All at full strength without any drawback. Wait, that was quick. Either he feels confident about it, or he's trying to convince himself about it that he can make do now, and quickly. I think all this setup of Deku trying to shoulder the burden alone led to a big tragedy, probably All Might death, then a turnaround of Deku working with everyone together for final showdown. Man, Deku looks legit scared. In that final page one wouldn't know if he's coming to save me, or beat the crap out of me. He may not know himself at this point. He's thinking less and less clearly after chapter 306. It was quickly disproven we were entering a vigilante Deku phase, but things look like they are moving towards that now. Chapter as always now is the of the video. If made this, consider leave a like and tell what was your favorite panel page of chapter 318 of My Hero Academia. Until next, thanks for watching.